Lungere Liyaroga Yogi Mia what is so Yejizo Go a Mamashi Nene Uchoto, Mashi Leve they don't get that Shiruya Mama what below the Mama. She must see our own layer on body. Go, so more to get soy. Sabido Piotova Noa Kari, Indria, Dicani, Bawandira. Don't you know Jongchi Aruja? A Gomio Jongchi Aruja. Tata Sashi, Jisu. Swan in Tayari body, Cheta Agon La Javare, Eddie comes in it, Piotova. Ingrid Gava, Techomia, Gova she did this, Ravan Comio. Comio open and Sankarana. Kayami, opacity, Ravan. The K. Kurega Yunina Changju Seponi, Asa, who was the Nanyani body, since Timiabu, Pramazo, Jojo the Yona Diari, Poet of Yamabu, Nyanidi body. It a little pit lama. Very long one, Kitty was a leche. Tata dia leve Chetan, Machitivo. Tata dia Machedo out of do say, dear, Kinzori, who shammed that he saw our levem she did. That is why she was so that he saw the Marisama Pina Swa Erari Michidero. Go, Mochong Nano Kabaloga Jiha Uro Piasini Babi. Tamina and Tamia of Piasini Babi. Dira Go, Naibo, they eat go, Ochong Naibo. So Ochong Swai, they eat it, Yasofia, Nibido. No way, Nippon tongue your ego. Go, also named she so early. Pia, Dini, Pia was Ravali, Eddie Nero. Go Nishi, as I was. Eddie Hodova. Eddie Comura, Patama. Leave you load of bead of it, but leave you one, I'm not bead of it. Tablet change of tablet of your own.
Four days ago, Sayadawgyi spoke about the ruling factors, which are the most important thing in one's whole life, in the whole life of the yogi, because with these controlling factors, these ruling factors, one can control oneself so that one doesn't make mistakes. Or if one does, the mistakes one makes are not so big that they cannot be corrected. They're not so big that they destroy one's life. So these ruling faculties are what give us the ability to make our mistakes practically zero. And there are 9 causes for sharpening the faculties, the ruling factors such as faith. And Sayadawgyi spoke about these. So in order to to see the mind and matter that are really in one's body, which are related as cause and effect, to see them how they really are, stage by stage. We have to be able to see how they arise and pass away. We need to be able to see how they come to an end. And if we have not yet seen that, how they come to an end, then our faith is not yet strong. And because faith is not yet strong, the power to resist unwholesome deeds is not yet strong. And because faith also is not yet strong, effort, sati, samadhi, panya, these two are not yet there. And so one is not able to rule oneself. And because of this, because people in the world, for the most part, are not able to control or rule or govern themselves, the world is falling apart. To rule or govern oneself is very important. And the Buddha saw this, and therefore he gave a method. He said that this is the method for fulfilling these 5 ruling faculties. And he gave these 9, as Sayadawgyi spoke in the Pali, nawaha karehi indriyani tekani bhavanti, that there are 9, because of 9 causes, the indriyas, the ruling factors, become sharp. And the first of these, upanupananang sankharanang kayameva pasati, to see so among these 9, the first 4 have been completed, have been talked about, but Sayadawgyi is going to repeat these in some.
Kababama Nenga Anjangashi, Lumuriha, Yimi Chani, Sagari le Quaja to use Hajan to Javu. Bingo Yanga level near the K among Mayuchet of City. Tipanina like which I live shit out to a yo to 6 pints and a which I must shit out. 6 pints and a Matia Yogi Moody, Teta Agamuya and Dwet. Yes, I let me each shed nearly the hot. Mimico, Mamma Mimi Lila. The Chadwa Lila Ho. A good car, let the one say who did it, why the Lila than your home. Go bar less or a Lila, what that day ye cheated. Open and Sankara and Kayami opacity. Kurega, Mila Jale, Nale Sale, Tila. Go like sunlight, sounding as a Muyari, New York City. Eddie Peter Kaitama. The Gashi Oshi Dagaro. Jojo Yona never says up Chinny. Nan Jonjo, you Judia, you Judia, you Jonjo, Nan Judia, Chinny. Begamana, who could him have a Jonjo repeats on it. The Shadow Shavu. The gay she, Yona the Wadia, Tilushi. Yona Madava, a cha, a poor machine, Savori. She was a damashi, so taking it a column, she so much atom sheets. Come on now, let go. Dayo Dana so the Quavia Tito is a Lucia. Dinaku Divido, Dinaku, no child Lucia, don't yave, Banjo. Bogos or a lamshi, that was a lamshi. Yogis or a lamshi, Waymas or a lamshi. The Shida Bales or Dion the power at Ave. Era Dibuaro. Sa Palo Dida Mopavu, since I looked at Mopavu. They are now 11 dinner. They ban this near secretary on 11 dinner. Mimi Seiko, a Shigango Jidila, the Piers of Mimi Seiko. Than she on lower. Than she Lama secretary and immediately came with a G Lama. Yoye, na yellow, a little quaver dealer. The Amadison say, I don't need to say, a young lady was Kate dealer. Come go, John Ma, Yona Diari Pinia. Messy Ronaro, Nakono, Shadow, go Gidato, Nalon Yotos right. That I think one say, let me out. Why don't kill other less or that let me out? Uda shake and of Shella Messi Gidati, Yazin, Naile, a chunk and the Kigaluda. Daga Gulolo say, Kanda data, Bunta, sets of it of Pinevoni. They shall diluci. The Kandaga below the pillar, not out the other. Six of Shidari, Tajano Taina, Tajano Tara, Kujano Guida, Sanyano Sana, Neto Kachin, Neto Kata, Messi Patient Lupita, Pujano Quena, Sarawari. Dalilia, see who got John Jock. You, Judia, the pillar. See who the John say Judia. Below Wunjema means Yajaza only she be mellow. Eddie Iozi Manati Gara, Kore, Saint Yahoo, Malay, John Dong Yilema Miave, John Dong Yilema Java Pinita. Eddie Be Manati Gara, Saint Sled Wama. Jala, Miana, the cinema. There are say who do John say Jodia people lady. You do John Jodia people who either Yadima Gure, either the Yadway, Shandin. Nilipuna, Buddha lady Korea Laro, Nueli, Bumyalogy, Chudi, Totally. Danga Yohugo John Korea, Jodia, Pierre. Ahaudo John Kurema Yodia, Sayan, Anere, Yore. Sale Ari Pidore, Kamatono, Dini, London San Chidore, Jodi Lansane, Tariba Araudo John Kurema, Ara Yodi, or a Shinari. They got Pansiciama, Panivia Popo. Kurega Yona Diari, do Jonah to Jonah, sets of it of Shinida Azra. Go to the Ripsan in a Lila Ma. Diavare. John Joke on the I do got did a John Kitty so that you are a level candle that day. Do Jonah do Joe keep on the TV solution with them I do got dating Sarawani. A John Mahote, how John Low you a young man later drop transitions or tell it with my look at dating cover. But do John do your lady, Gwenza and in it. She a dinner solution. A young pity so that you are a build the law. When a transition, a transition period, so well as you build the ဒါအသိဉာဏ်တွေဖြစ်လာလို့ရှိရင်ဒီတိုင်းဖြစ်ရမှာပဲအဲ့ဒါကိုလေးလာရတာကိုလေးလာတယ်ကိုထဲမှာဘာတွေရှိတယ်ဆိုတာကိုရဲ့ဉာဏ်မြင်ဖြစ်သွားလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့ဒီမဟုတ်တာတွေဆွဲလန်းထားတဲ့ဟာတွေတစ်ဖြည်းဖြည်းပပျောက်သွားတော့
In the world, there are different countries, and these are separated by land barriers, by barriers of water. Our languages are different, and our cultures are different. And because people of the world don't know, they're not able to choose correctly. So, So in order to make faith strong, the Buddha gave a practical method. And he said to study your own self. Do research on your own self. Not like scientists do research on what is outside of them. The Buddha said to study yourself by yourself. As Sayadawgyi said, upanupananang Sinkaranang kayamewa pasati, that in the body, at the moment, there are various things that happen. There's seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, bending, stretching, lifting, moving, placing. All these various things happen, and to see them as they are, when they are, to see them, when we see them, we see also that they are related as cause and effect. Mind causes matter, nama causes rupa, and rupa causes nama. What happens is not without cause. It's not random. What happens is due to cause and effect. And if we are able to observe so that we see mind and matter, nama and rupa, then we know there's nothing else there inside of us. There's no soul. There's no life, no self, no soul to be found in there. We come to understand this well in the practice. There's nama and rupa, and if you take these two things away, there's nothing. There's nothing left inside. There's no person. There's no man. There's no woman. There's just mind and matter, nama and rupa. This is something that is not learned through reading, not learned through reflecting, not learned through listening to a Dhamma talk, but it's not done through all these ways. We keep sila. We first of all establish morality, and then we make our minds clean. And the mind then becomes clear and is able to see then nama and rupa, mind and matter. First it sees mind and matter. And going from there, one stage, one starts to see how these are related as cause and effect. The cause of karma, kama, our past karma, brings about matter, physicality, or rupa. The eye base, the ear base, the nose base, the tongue base, the body base, the sense receptors through which we experience sight, sound, smells, taste, and touch. Scientists are not able to find out what is the origin, what is the original cause for these parts of the body to arise. The Buddha, more than 2,500 years ago, declared that these arise due to our past karma, our past actions. And at this time, if one understands how these act together as the base, the striker, and the spark, the sense base, the object, that is perceived in consciousness. If one comes to know this, then later on, one will come to know how cause and effect happens, how the mind brings about bending, how the mind brings about the act of stretching, or the act of sitting, standing, blinking the eye. This too is a case of mind causing matter. Mind also causes mind. However many sights there are around us, however many things there are to hear in the environment, one won't see anything, one won't hear anything, unless there is attention paid to this. This is the arrow of the mind, manasikara, which turns our mind to a specific object so that we can pay attention to it. Only with that quality of manasikara, the mental quality, will we come to see or hear, and so on. Matter also causes matter. Rupa causes rupa. For example, when the weather is cold, the matter in our body becomes cold. And when we go close to a fire or turn on the heat, then the body becomes hot and we sweat. So this is how matter causes matter. And also nutrition, ahara, causes matter or rupa. If one doesn't eat, the lack of nutrition in our body makes the body weak. It makes the body not strong. And then if one eats and takes in this nutritious food, then the body becomes strong and sturdy. So this is how ahara causes matter. Where is the creator in this? Each thing arises due to its own cause. We know cause and effect. And when we come to know this, we become free of the view that is called in Pali ahetuka ditti, the view that there is no cause, that things just happen without a cause. There's no cause to what happens. And also when we see that each cause happens due to, each effect happens due to its relevant cause, we understand, we eliminate the view that is called visamahetuka ditti, that is the view of fictitious, it's sometimes called fictitious cause view. This happens when we don't know what the true cause for something is. And so we make up a cause. We insert a cause because we don't see the real cause. And so we think, for example, that there's a creator that makes us blink. So when one understands cause and effect, then one realizes, first of all, that it's not without cause. So this wrong view of causelessness is eliminated. And one also realizes that it's not due to irrelevant causes. It's not due to a made-up cause. Things have their own cause. So knowledge like this arises. So one studies oneself, and the false beliefs that one had, the wrong ideas that one have, gradually are eliminated one by one.
Lu dai ha. Lu dai so lu myo su dai. ပြီးတော့ဘာသာဤဝါဒနဲ့မပတ်သက်ဘူးကိုယ်ွယ်မှုနဲ့မပတ်သက်ဘူးသိပ္ပံပညာဆိုတာကိုယ်ွယ်မှုနဲ့မပတ်သက်ဘူးအလွတ်ပဲသူကတော့ဗိဓယုတ်ထုတွေကိုလေ့လာတာနာဝတ္ထုတော့သူတို့နန္တဘောတော့သူတို့မပိုင်ကြဘူးကိုယ့်အကိုပြန်ပြီးတော့လေ့လာတာဒါပဲကိုယ်ပြန်လေ့လာတဲ့အခါမှာမျက်စိနဲ့နှာခေါင်းရှာကိုယ်စိတ်ခေါ်တဲ့ Choktana Kandama Miyaja Nayasaya Tia Segutia Taita Ionia Lavida Taika Bora Kandashi and Taita Lam. But Jida Shiroji, the Jida Shima, Yela Tim, however, that Ma Jidam she was a Yemetim. Gurema Eddie Jidati, La Vida, a Yedi Latina, Yare, a Ye, Jade, a Tan, Nayade, and not Sade, a Yada, Tituare, Mapio, Janu, Bunwe, a pot. Ardently shouts out that you are Lalatia. The look my level and no times of the sea, oh no body. Siguya are the Lalavita Tihada. Edo Tiana Lekama, the gay Mina Jada Moguendo, Medium Jadium, Nadium Sadio, Tidio, Sigu Muni Pita. You know, no longer. Though no dinos only see oh no ha can't double. Even La Vida Seguya, Ioneer, a data. The data dear La Vida Polushi. They gave me Jan and Sat T3 near Lua. Security city, Finny. Tave Era Colo Puntatico, Diani, La Vida Puena. The cases are like she, a kind of data point up that day she. Any daddy, no little she, Pokulemo, that Walemo, Yojalemo, Mimalemo. The daddy, Ponso Vida, do Kaidani to Kenny that I. Gulu Yeda, Takwe, Yidemha. Good go jab, Gulu the Lipton Bona, the Ari Atobido. Kurema she did to get dump money. Mandiari, dear only Santa Nijara. Eliona Diariga Kayas, Pibit Piedora even. Pibit of Piedra and Dini of Arms, you Pibit of Piedora even. The Karas are a Jontai Sama. John you people, Johnny, you know my people are the diary. Eddie diaria. Congo video, Jojo, Dora, Soravoli, and the Gualeve Tita near me. Eddie diaria leve, Chautanama, Pipsi, open up bananas. Mille Jolly, Nale Sale, Tile, Dile, Pitain, go no, Yona. Some days some people are Yona diary. Pinet Piego, young shooter, but a ma, Jojo Sebo, the Bawa. For what goes electionary, 2 electionats of Yoga. The Bawa should say, no. The mere electionary, Miana. Bobby of Jopo, Polygon, the Seabo, to the one that to ship only the lady dealer. Era tia so le shi chip chip koမြင်လဲဆိုတဲ့ကိုကတော်တော်လေးတတ်တာတရားရှိတာပဲဟုတ်တယ်ကိုရီးယားဖြစ်နေတရားတွေဟိုတော့ငါတို့အထင်နဲ့ပဲပြောနေတာအထင်ပဲရှိတာပဲကိုတော့တကယ်ကိုယ်တိုင်မြင်လာပြီဆိုတာပေါ့လေဟုတ်တယ်ဆိုတာလက်ခံလိုက်တာပဲအဲ့ဒါတတ်တာတရားတွေဖြစ်လာတာပေါ့ယုံကြည်အားတွေစဖြစ်လာတာပေါ့ယုံကြည်အားတွေဖြစ်လာတယ်ဆိုရင်ဒီယုံနာတရားတွေဟာမဟုတ်ဘူးပေါ်ပြီးတော့ပြည့်သွားတာမဟုတ်ဘူးဆိုတာဘယ်သူကလာပြောလက်မခံတော့သူကိုယ်လေးဖြစ်နေပြီဒါပဲအဲ့ဒါလိုဆွမ်းအားတွေကိုအုပ်ချုပ်နိုင်တဲ့ဆွမ်းအားတွေပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒါတွေဖြစ်အောင်လုပ်ပေးနေတာပဲအားရှိအောင်လုပ်ပေးနေတဲ့သဘောပါပဲဒါပါပဲတရားထုတ်တယ်ဆိုတာ
This is concerned with every human being of every background, of every religion. It has nothing to do with religion. science is not related to religion. But science is just studying matter. When we study ourselves, this is all we're doing, studying ourselves. There are eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. These are the places where the objects are received, where we perceive senses. These are the places where sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touch, and thoughts are received. So these are receptors for sense. If there's no receptor, then there's nothing that can be perceived. Nothing can be experienced if there's no receptor. So the receptor, when the visible object strikes the receptor, then the image is seen. Because there's a receptor, the sound is heard, the taste is tasted, the smell is smelled, the touch, hot, cold, and so on, is felt. And although Westerners think that this happens in the brain, Easterners think that mental objects, such as thoughts, thinking, seeing things in the mind, hearing things in the mind, as though we see, as though we hear, these too happen when one of these objects strikes the receptor. And Westerners think that it's the brain that is receiving these mental objects. But in the Buddhist scriptures, it's the heart base that receives mental objects, such as images, not real physical images, but as those seen. So in all these, if there's an object that strikes its relevant sense base, then there will be knowing that object. There will be sight, smell, taste, touch, sound, thinking. So this knowing, these are all the sparks. There's the base, the striker, and the spark. Or this is how it's called in one way. The sense base, the object that strikes the sense base, and the consciousness that arises. So these are sparks, knowing the object. And in the moment of any sense experience, there's just this, just the sense base and the object striking it, and the spark of knowing the object at that moment. So when one sees this, then one knows that this is all there is. There's no person in there. Sorry. So each thing occurs in its own time. And when we practice satipatthana, it's like doing research on ourselves in a laboratory. So as we observe our mind and body, we come to see that this mind and matter, all of this that happens in us, it arises and it passes away. There is nothing that does not arise and then pass away. That's why these are called sankhara. Sankhara means things which come together. When causes come together, that thing arises. So it's dependent upon its causes. And this is what is happening at the six sense doors, that sense objects are being perceived. And this is how things come together due to causes. So every time a sense experience occurs, it is happening due to causes. Everything that we experience arises due to a cause. So seeing this, we come to see how they arise and then pass away. And one also then comes to see what they have in common. So once we can observe the true nature of mind and matter, then we continue to observe, we see how they all arise and then pass away, how they are not satisfactory, and how they're just process. They have no inherent self. So when we see how things arise and pass away in this way, our faith becomes quite strong. Before, we just thought that this was true, but now we see it for ourselves in a real way, and we accept it. We come to acceptance. So this is the start of the power of faith. So when we see in this way, then if someone comes to us and says, no, this isn't true, this thing arises and doesn't pass away, this thing is permanent, one won't believe this, because one will not believe anyone who comes and says like this. So meditation is for making this power strong.
Chongjo Setsabido Piponia, who yogi Nasia, the Atanlady Lani, Tanlady Block and Lala, Na Penny Lucian of Jav. Janela Nara Shiva, Tamaru Aritan, Suicide Namaton Lucian Leve, the child Sekuni Luci, Jongdoji Chavala Pinida. Your Jati will appear as Suraha, Nashi to Jara, Atanga, Lalu Janiera. The Yok Jontiari, Jara, Jatwida, Jakantara, Nadiari 15 years Sura, Burma, Yellow Yao. You Nadiazudi, PM, Namji, Bear. Position Yanet, Town, Chivito, Jazzy, Lulumiabu. Nara Shiva, a Dhamma Lavuzolici, Dina, Belulu Jamale, a Tanema, take up Malavuzolici, Belulu Jamale. Position Bow, Town, Chivito, a Danipio, and Melunamahu. Tanga, the Hunatu, a Madajin team at Tantweta. Tolumiabo. Through passages of the letter in Navalebo. The Chada Kaitama. You Jonjo, not Judia people. Kongoji, the Wobo Dwellers of Luci, Janet Yuna, the Ari Leve. Dilujive, so the body. You Jonjo, not Judia, not Jonjo, you Judia. Not Chinny, Jonah, Joseph, you Chinny, Jonah, Sebo body. Kuri Jonah, Kuri Jonah, Kama. The Goa, Amamilu, you must and the Ariha. Kindle Rabelia. No, Loma, you must and the Akina, or Toto of Shima Gima. The Savama, Jonah, Judiluci, you must and the Arikin and Dora.
Yogis are hearing at the present moment how mind and matter are related by cause and effect. The yogis are hearing, and the sound waves are coming. But if one's ear is deaf, one won't hear. The sound is coming and striking the ear, but if one is thinking about something else, then one won't hear the sound. There's a cause to hearing arising. There needs to be an ear, and the sound striking the ear. When the sound strikes the ear, then there's knowing of the hearing consciousness. One knows the sound. There's hearing contact, and hearing feeling, the feeling that occurs due to hearing. So if there's no ear present, then can any creator command us to hear? If there's no sound happening, if there's, without any sound striking the ear, can hearing possibly happen? Not 1,000 creators can make hearing happen without the ear or without the sound. So those who believe in God don't understand about how cause and effect works. If one understands how cause and effect works in one instance, for example, if one understands how cause and effect happens in the moment of hearing, how matter causes mentality, then one will also believe in the other ways cause and effect happens. One will understand that mind also creates matter. Mind also is the cause for mind to occur. And matter is also the cause for matter to arise. So when one encounters these, in one's practice, one believes. So one is free of doubt regarding this, but not completely, because that only will happen at the stage of sotapannahood.
အဲဒီဒုက္ခိတနဲ့သူအကြောင်းနဲ့ကျိုးဆက်ဆက်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်သွားတဲ့ယုံနာသင်္ခါရတရားတွေဟာကိုယ်ပဲဖြစ်ပြီးတော့အခုပဲပြတ်သွားတာကြီးပဲဆိုတာပေါ့လေမြင်ပြီးတော့တခဏလေးပြောက်သွားကြားပြီးတော့တခဏလေးပြောက်သွားတာနားပြီးတော့တခဏလေးပြောက်သွားတာရှားပေါ်ရောက်တဲ့အရာတွေလည်းအခုပဲပေါ်လာပြီးတော့အခုပဲပြောက်သွားတာကိုယ်မှာပေါ်လာတဲ့မာလာပြောတာကျန်နာနုတာပူရာနွေးတာအေးတာတောက်နာတင်းတာတွေအခုပဲဖြစ်ပြီးတော့အခုပဲပြတ်သွားကြီးပဲစိတ်ကူးအမျိုးမျိုးတွေလည်းပဲအခုပဲဖြစ်ပြီးတော့အခုပဲပြတ်သွားတာကြီးပဲဆိုတာပေါ့လေပထမဆုံးကိုကလက်တွေ့ကိုယ်တွေ့ဉာဏ်မရှိသေးပေမဲ့လို့အပြောနဲ့လက်ခံထားရပါတယ်ဟုတ်လို့တယ်ဆိုတာပေါ့လေဒါလက်ခံထားရပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါတတ္တတရားတကယ်လည်းပဲအဖြစ်အပျက်ကိုသိလို့တဲ့ဆန္ဒလည်းပဲရှိရပါတယ်သိလို့တဲ့ဆန္ဒရှိလို့ရိတ်တာရောက်ပြီးတော့အခုလိုလေ့လာပြီးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ပေါ်ပေါ်ဆာဆာလို့တော့မရဘူးတတ္တသတက္ကိစ္စကရိယာယတမ္ပါတိတိဆိုတာပေါ့တတ္တထို့သောအကြောင်းကျိုးဆက်ဆက်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်တဲ့ယုံနာတရားတွေရဲ့အဖြစ်နဲ့အပျက်ကိုမြင်အောင်ရှုရနိုင်ဟောအပျက်ကိုမြင်အောင်ရှုရနိုင်တက္ကိစ္စကရိယာယယူသေးသေးပြုခြင်းဖြင့်တမ္ပါတိတိဝိပဿနာဉာဏ်ကိုပြည့်စုံစေနိုင်ပါတယ်တဲ့လို့ဆိုထားပါတယ်ယူသေးရမှာယူသေးပုံနဲ့ဟိုတော့ပြောခဲ့ပါအထိုင်ထအကွေးစအလုံးရှားရေးဖြည်းဖြည်းသာသာလူမှလို့ဖို့အမတ်တမဲ့နဲ့ဘာမှမလုပ်ဖဲနဲ့ပါလေဒါကြီးဘိုက်ဝမ်းဘိုက်ဆိုင်ပြီးတော့ဖုံးနေပိန်တိုင်းပေါ်ပေါ်ဆာဆာမဟုတ်ဘဲနဲ့ယူသေးလေးဆာဆာပေါ်လေလုပ်ဖို့အဲ့ဒါကြီးလည်းပြောခဲ့ပါတယ်ရှုမှတ်မှုမှာယူသေးကကောင်းစွာပြုရမယ်ဆိုတာပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒီအင်္ဂါလေးတွေပြည့်စုံမှကောယုံနာတရားတွေရဲ့အဖြစ်အပျက်ကိုမြင်လာနိုင်တယ်ဆိုတာပေါ့လေဒါအကြောင်းတရားပဲ
The mind and matter, nama and rupa, that is occurring in us as cause and effect, that is sankhara, due to arising, due to causes coming together, they all arise and then pass away. Seeing arises and then passes away. Hearing arises and immediately passes away. Smelling, tasting, touching in the body, softness arises and then passes away. coldness, heat, hardness. It happens and then it's gone. Thinking, imagining, these two arise and then are gone immediately. They all are like this. And before we see this practically, we need to accept that this is true. This is faith. And then there needs to be the desire to practice in order to see this really. One has to then come to a center like this so that one can undertake the practice. And in undertaking the practice, one can't do so carelessly. It's said that tata sakacha kiryaya sampadeti, that in doing the work of observing so that we are able to come to see how things come to an end, we have to work to develop vipassana knowledge respectfully and meticulously. As Sayadawgyi said before, one has to perform acts such as sitting down, standing up, bending and stretching. Any type of action that we perform like this has to be performed as if we were a sick person. When we sit, we have to try to observe every single rising, every single falling. So only when we work like this with care and respect for the practice, then only then will we be able to see how mind and matter, nama and rupa, arise and pass away. This is a cause for us to come to see like this.
Tayo tezi lo yadalo, to tu be zettai le lo yabare, jarama yanajam siya. Amyo ariya boga pyaw ni ma do thai lai tha lai koi lai san lai, saw lai ngai lai chwa lai thlan lai sa. Yo ni tha ne sei ni tha amyo pyaw ni ma lo. Shumam hu ado tata re twa ra be, no be ya shi ya phit twa no ka. Era tatisa kriya kho ba lo. Mayo mate lo lo ma sei ma le ma sa lo lo. Ha kwet ma shi ya aw ma, ha kwet ke aw yo ti de. Si sat sat lo ba le. Ai nya mo de kha ma long lo shi mo yi sei ne. Chan ni le ba taku na taku set sat mu shi lo shi phou ne won ne. Da le yu ra sei na de. Ma lo at de ha de bo le. ဝင်ပြီးတော့မခိုရအောင်ဆိုပြီးတော့ရှေ့မှနဲ့နောက်မှဆက်ဆက်အောင်အဲ့ဒါလိုလုပ်နေတာအဲ့ဒါတတိစကိရိယာခေါ်တယ်တော့မနာမရကြားမပြတ်ဆိုတာမနာရဘူးမနာရဘူးကြားမရှိအခြားမရှိရဘူးဆက်ဆက်အောင်ခါရမှနေရ
As we need to work respectfully, as we are working respectfully, we also have to work continuously. So this means that although our postures change, our body may be doing various things, bending, stretching, lifting, moving, placing. There are various postures, large and small. There are the physicality, the matter, Rupa is changing. It appears in various ways. The mind occurs in various ways. It's changing. So one has, but although all these things have many, many various ways of occurring, one has to keep one's observation constant. That means that there can't be any gaps in our observation. So we have to work continuously to try to fill up the gaps in our observation. We have to keep on trying to fill these up. When it rains, if the roof has holes, then the rainwater will come into the house. So when we practice, Two, we don't want to have holes in our observation. We need to fill up. When something is needed, we need to fill up that gap, fill up that need, so that our practice, so that one moment of observation is followed immediately by another moment of observation, by another. There shouldn't be any gap between one moment of observation and the next. So one has to work in this way. Try to keep one's observation occurring all the time.
Lingi porare shukwe ayongo. Cheche mashulu shiye. Matimu. Sipyalmu. Tadi auto pshitwarago. Mayumu sravoli. Tadi Any jane to every auto say one or other. Now, Mashuli, Kili wins or win or other. The jabs it or out. But we are shooting, Kili say through Chico Mayara go with a Sinjere Koravada.
If we don't try to observe the immediately arising object, if we miss the object, then what enters the mind is ignorance, the scattered mind, and the quality of not being disgusted by unwholesomeness, not being afraid of unwholesomeness. These factors occur together with the unwholesome mind, akusala consciousness. So Sayadawgyi said, not observing, not knowing, kilesas come in. This is what happens when we don't observe. Kilesas come into the mind, mental defilements. But observing and knowing, kilesas come clean. We eliminate these impurities when we observe and know.
I don't know you didn't see such a yema. Sapayasura, simply about it. Our men out of the Kama, a simple needle lady body. A simple a year lady, younger Yamado Konubia Taware. They are sat near Tangam. Do to consider near Sazaya, simple near here. Gosara Yanom Yamado, Sonkan Saravani. You don't need to be Yogi Yagado Dhamma. Sende Panditarama. Danapatalu Burma, Tonga Sam Shiva. But that, that's what you do, Roja. Jesus in my shadow, I over the road time. Yogi de go Lampianida, Bassas, Tinto de Atopoli. Pure competentia, Yogi, Kunji Penina. That two bills, Yamshi. Talipis on there. Pogola Pogo Sara, go good lunch in the Pogo Volley. Kayana, Kayana book. Make out Swigo. Sayadawgyi, Poido, Sayadamasuri, and Nina of Mapo. Go, swim you county on the nebody. Swim you Kuni. The Pogola Tabaya leve. Pimelo, Timare. We don't know who are. Sawata Fari. Sawata Fari, Ninganaga, Larapuku, the good Sanija, Yamiaro. Nene of Kiddy only of him, Pima. Davimelu, Yoyeta Lucia. Arapite, a sign. Pete Yogi, Arapita. Arapsi for Yejiva. Your Bosana Zabaya. Sawata Fari, Simpiano Lopiva. I was so Gozo Bata. Avato Gosro Batam, Pugalo, Ata Bosana, Bugalo, Bosana, Utu, Jamaleve, Yabeli, Minnesota Chamber. Now, nearly 20 guys are newly negated on any Pubare. Davimalu, a year of 1 year, so around the Butanja, Bahama say no shape system. A boy, Uru, Lemia, so Hamava. Arazabaya, Udu Bosana, so Arazabaya, so Aralemia down, beautiful opinion about our so Gosro Bata, Pogolo Ata Bosana, Utu Ariabata, Tiny near a Lemobo, 18 near a Lemobo, Yajiro near a Lemobo, 2 near a Hobo. Time like, see I shall like. Bian time like Sadi, what it does, really, me down, don't near what I did Yogi, a simple economy, or level 2 pure jam, she would read to Timare, Eddie in our level, Sony, whatever. Then your does what Connepia comes of me, so there are 2 pure jam, she. Taha. Go there, don't use a unit, dear, Pip Miao Shuyama. Look at the Ayari, what a Johnny.
In working like this, with faith, respect, and continuity, there are 7 things that we need to have that should be suitable for us. And the first of these is the suitability of dwelling, avasa sapaya. So this means that we need to be free, be able to meditate in a place that's free of humans, free of human noises and so on. And the second is Gochara Sapaya. For the monks, that's related to their alms round. And as far as male and female yogis, Sayadawgyi thinks that everything is, there's nothing to worry about as far as suitability of resort, Gochara Sapaya. And Basa Sapaya. That means that the instruction we hear should be suitable. And what we are hearing is the teaching of the Buddha as instructed by the late Most Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw. So this category is also complete. We are hearing these suitable instructions. Pugala Sapaya means that we should have the suitable good friend to teach us. So here the monks teach us as if they are a relative, helping their relatives. And Sayadaw believes that this factor is complete also. Bhojana Sapaya is the suitability of food and drink. So foreign yogis aren't getting the usual foods that they have back home. And so they have to be patient with the food. However, if it's nutritious, then that's what's most important. And we are working here to make the food suitable in this way. Udu Sapaya means suitability of weather. And here, it's a bit cold in the evening and in the early morning. And at the noontime, it's a bit hot. But there's no danger if one doesn't, the weather is not dangerous to one. So one can moderate, one can live in a moderate way in this weather. Then Iriyapada Sapaya, that means suitability of posture. We don't just sit, we don't just stand, we don't just walk, we don't just lie down. We sit and then we walk and then sit So we work to balance the postures. And so this too is suitable. So all these 7 factors which need to be suitable, Sayadawgyi feels that these are all suitable here. So we need to rely on these 7 suitable things. These are causes for us to be able to come to see the arising and passing away of mind and matter, nama and rupa.
အဲ့ဒါလိုညွှန်တဲ့အတိုင်းအခုပြောခဲ့တဲ့အင်္ဂါတွေပြည့်စုံပြီးတော့ရှုမှတ်လို့10မိနစ်2မိနစ်လောက်ပေါ့လေတရက်လောက်မှတ်ယုံနေရတော့ခုနခဏိကသမာဓိဆိုတာပေါ့လေအာမပြည့်သေးပါဘူးနည်းနည်းပဲရှိပါသေးတယ်တခုချင်းတွက်လို့ရှိရင်လည်းသိအားနေပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီအားနေတဲ့အရာလေးတွေပေါင်းစုစုလိုက်လို့ရှိရင်သမီးတစ်ချက်ကနေပြီးတော့2ချက်ဆိုလည်းစိတ်အားရှိလာပြီ10ချက်ဆိုပိုအားရှိလာပြီအချက်20ဆိုပိုအားရှိလာပြီတဏှာရီတော့သမာဓိတွေဆက်ပြည့်တယ်ဆိုသိကိုအားရှိလာပြီတခုချင်းအနေနဲ့တွက်လို့အားနေပြီမယ်လို့အားနေတဲ့အရာလေးပေါင်းလိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာအဲ့ဒီအားနေတဲ့အရာအပေါင်းတွေကအဝတ်ပဲကောင်းတော့အောင်ပဲဆွမ်းအားတွေဖြစ်လာတာတဲ့အဲ့ဒါခဏိကသမာဓိခေါ်ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီသမာဓိဖြစ်ပုံတော့နောက်နေ့ကျမှပဲစာတွင်းနဲ့လက်တွေ့ပေါင်းစပ်ပြီးတော့ပြောပါမယ်ဒီနေ့ကတော့ဒါတော့ပဲတော်ကြအောင်စို့
Because one observes as instructed with these factors, making sure that these factors just mentioned are complete. Just in one day, one's momentary concentration, kanika samadhi, will not yet be developed. If we take each moment of observation individually, it's quite weak. But if we gather these weak things together, if we gather these moments which are very weak individually for 1 minute, or if we gather them together for 1 hour, although individually these are weak, when they are combined, their power becomes amazingly strong. And this is kanika samadhi, momentary concentration, the power of concentration. So this topic will be continued tomorrow night. That's all for today. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Himaya tamanu tamapatipatiya Buddham pujami Himaya tamanu tamapatipatiya Dhammam pujami Himaya tamanu tamapatipatiya Sangham pujami Adhaimaya patipadaya Jara